Hello, my name is XONEVANT. Today is Wednesday, January the 7th, and I wanted to talk about 2014. A lot of you guys have been asking me what was my favorite games of 2014, so let's touch on that right here on the Daily Dose. So I've thought long and hard about how to answer this question, because last year, 2014, I came out the gate ready to play some games, baby. I mean, we had, Final Fantasy 13-3 dropping early on in the year. We had Thief dropping, and then obviously you got the summertime, but nothing really comes out there unless you're kind of in that sports type. If you're a sports type gamer, you're covered, but I'm typically not into sports. So usually in the summertime, I will normally go back and play old games and then prepare my graphics and my coverage for the fall, which is when we really grow as a channel. That's when all the big games come out at Christmas. Of course, we had Assassin's Creed Unity, Far Cry 4, things of that nature. But when I look back on my 2014, there was no new games that came out. Now, hear me out on this before you judge me. There was no new games that came out that I enjoyed. And let me go back. So the first game I played was Final Fantasy 13-3, and I just didn't like it. I don't know what it was, but I just could not find my footing in that game. And my plan was to cover that 100% on the channel and then roll into Thief. Just could not get into that game whatsoever. And in fact, that's one of the few Final Fantasies. I never beat 13-2 either. There was something about the 13 series that just I could not get into. The first one in the series was okay, right? But 13-2 and then 13-3, I just could not find my footing in those games, especially 13-3, because everything was so different. I mean, everything was based on doing all these quest lines, and that's how you leveled up, and there was a time thing going on, and I just could not. It was too out there for me, guys. And if you like that game, that's great. I'm not judging you, right? You guys know I'm going to shoot you straight. I mean, we're not all supposed to like the same games. I just couldn't get into it, right? I do think that at some point down the line, I probably will go back and play it, and I might find it very enjoyable. Sometimes if you give a game a break and you come back to it a little bit later on, you have a different mindset about it, right? I remember when I played Final Fantasy VIII for the first time, even though I went through it and I kind of, and enjoyed it, I really didn't find it that fascinating either, because I'm coming off Final Fantasy VII, right? So 8 just didn't feel like it was on that same level. And then a couple years back, I played it and thoroughly enjoyed it, right? So who knows what will happen in the future, but I just couldn't get into it. So I had to stop coverage of that. And then Thief, right? I found it okay, but I don't know. There was just something about that game too that was lacking for me. And part of it was probably the map direction in the game. Like, you couldn't really find places, and I don't know. I don't really remember too much about that game. I just remember stealing a lot of what I felt like was useless trinkets. Like, I was stealing a bunch of forks and spoons, and I don't know, it just didn't feel like, I don't know, just didn't hit me right, correct? And like I said, with the navigation system in that game, that didn't really cut it for me either, and I had to stop coverage on that game. And then, we roll into the summer, nothing's really coming out, obviously, so I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna go back and play some old games, some Red Dead Redemption, we're gonna play some Dark Souls 2, some games that I missed. And I was like, we'll build that hype up, we'll get into the fall, and we'll make up for the spring of the year. And then obviously things changed for me a bit, because my client decided to cut back, not just for me, but a couple of other employees as well. And kind of figure out what he wanted to do with his business, reevaluate, which is fine. I mean, he has some capital issues, and that's totally understandable. So, I was like, I could go out and find some more clients, but I don't know. You know how it is when you run your own business. You want to have established clients that are paying you on a regular basis, and when that gets cut, you have to kind of go out and establish new clients, and that can take a while. And I was like, you know what, I'll just go out and get a job and have some steady income coming in while I establish more clients. We'll be good to go. You see what I'm saying? And of course, when I found my new job, I found out there was a lot more opportunities there than was previously thought, right? And so I just kind of rolled with the punches and did what I had to do to help out. Because, when somebody's paying you, you got to get in there and get dirty sometime. You got to get in there and help out. You got to be a team player. And obviously going into Christmas time, I don't think I nor my employer could have expected how much would be needed, right, to get us through the holidays. So you just kind of have to roll with the punches. So I missed Assassin's Creed Unity, Far Cry 4. But aside from that, everything got pushed back to this year, 2015. A lot of the games got pushed back. Your Batmans, your all, those type of games, which now I just read an article on IGN that said Batman was going to be pushed back another year. Now, you guys know I'm not too worried about that because I'd rather games be pushed back and be good than come out early and be bad. Let's just hope that it comes out great, right? But to be honest, to answer that question, what was my 2014 year like in terms of gaming? And I think Darker XZ was the first one to ask me that question, but a couple of you guys have asked me that too. I didn't really have a good year in gaming. This is probably one of the first years that I have not had a good time playing games. Something just did not click for me in 2014. And what's interesting is that I find that a lot of you guys had that same issue, that your best moments from last year might have came from games that weren't necessarily new, right? Because I read you guys' comments not just on my videos, but some of your comments will show up in my feed that you place on other people's videos, and I've seen some conversations, and it seems like we all may have had a weird 2014. Maybe not all of us. Maybe some of you guys played some of those new games, and they were, home runs for you, right? But for me, 2014 was just so, I don't know, man. And then, like I said, I'm hoping that 2015 is just an absolute 180-degree turnaround for me in terms of just the time that I have to play games, which so far so good, and just the quality of games that I'm playing. But something about 2014 just did not click for me. And now I ask the same question to you guys. Did you have some fond moments of last year in gaming? And the question would be, did it come from games that were old games, or did it come from games that were new games? Because I think that's an important discussion, right? That's an important question to ask. And since you guys asked me, well, I figured I would ask you too. Now, to really drill down to what was my favorite game of 2014, like I said, I really can't say that it was any of the new titles. I have yet to play Assassin's Creed Unity, and I have yet to play Far Cry 4, even though those are high up on my list of games to tackle this year. I probably will tackle those type of games over the summer. You guys, like I said, games are kind of light over the summer for coverage, so I usually will go back and play older ones. But out of the games that I played, Dark Souls 2 and Red Dead Redemption. I mean, you guys, if you go back and look at last year's, videos that I posted, I didn't really post as much as I've posted in previous years, but what I played last year, every game I played is up on the channel. I don't play games anymore unless I can post them on the channel. So Red Dead Redemption and Dark Souls, I really can't say which one I like better because those games are not necessarily comparable. Two different types of genres of games. If it came down obviously to which game challenged me the most, then it would of course be Dark Souls. If it came down to which game told the best story, then it would obviously be Red Dead Redemption. So they both are up there, right? But those are my two favorite games, and it's crazy because they're older games. I mean, Dark Souls 2 is newer, but it's still considered old, right? It's not something that I played right when it came out, I guess I should say. But Red Dead Redemption is years back, and man, that game was fascinating to me, right? So I hope that kind of answers all those questions, but I'd like to know what your 2014 was like, and like I said, did you find your experiences better with old games or better with the new ones? And let's see where the discussion goes in the comments below.